little oil balls are just for your hands so the dough won't stick. You use a little bit on your hands and a little bit on the table. If it gets too sticky, use a little bit more. If you use too much, the dough won't even stick to itself. So don't use too much. All right, this is one recipe. This is how much it grew for whoever remembers how big it was when we needed it. A little bit of oil in my hands. Don't be worried about punching it, getting the air out. It's fine. It's going to rise again. It's good for it to reknead it a little bit. This is enough to make two really huge challahs. This is about as big as it gets in length. Wow. And it's about as tall. One recipe is enough for two really big challah breads. So what you do with the rest of the dough that you have when you're done getting the portion out is you cover it. Okay? You don't want it to dry up. And the reason I cover it with this and not with a towel is because the towel breathes and sticks to it. It still dries up a bit, and this works really well. Usually when I make it, I put it on the pan and I get a really, really big bowl and I put it on top of it, flipped over, because it works, like I said, way better than a towel. Now this is important. The best is to brush the egg on it after the second rise, right before you put it in the oven. But you have to be super gentle because you could very easily accidentally pop it with the brush. And if you accidentally pop it, it will flatten out. Okay? So this is what you do if you're not 100% confident that you can do it carefully enough, and you brush the egg on before you let it go to the second rise. So you can be rougher and then you let it rise and then it's fine. The second problem with that is this: if you use a towel to cover it for the second rise, it sticks to the egg, and then when you take the towel off, you pop it. So the best way is a big plastic box or a big bowl, and you put it over it. So I'm just flattening it a little bit. Doesn't have to be too much, okay? And the reason that I'm flattening it a little bit is because now I want to make it even, all right? So what I'm doing is I'm rolling it onto itself a little, and then I'm flattening it to itself. I roll it again and glue it again, all right? And now I'll roll it again, and this time I'll use the palm of my hand, or the end of my hand, or the root of my hand, or whatever you want to call it. It's weird calling it heel, sorry.
Are you pushing on the flat part or the
round part? I'm pushing on the flat part and a tiny little bit of the round part. Okay, so basically I'm pinching the round part into the flat part. And then I'm going again, and I'm pinching the very edge of it together. And now you see what I get is a really perfectly round, even sausage. That's the secret for making really nice, even challah breads. Okay, I take my hands, open like this, and I roll it from the middle outward. Okay? From the middle outward, and from the middle outward. And that's how I open it. Okay? And basically, this is what I get. Now, you don't want to make it too long, because a good challah needs to be, like every baby, fat. Okay? That's a good challah, it's fat. So, if you make these strands too long, your challah is going to be very long and very flat, and you don't want that. You want it to be nice and fluffy and yummy and fat. Rule number one, working with this dough, you have to work very loosely because you want to give the dough space to rise. It needs to double its size again the second time. Alright, you take them, put one over the other, like a pretzel. And then you put it in.
You actually tie it up.
You actually tie it up, that's all. Alright, I'm making a 6 or a 9, really whatever you want. I'm taking the tail and putting it inside through like a Q. Alright? And then I'm twisting this over itself to make an 8. And I take this from the top.
From the top.
And tuck it in.
Top.
Alright?
Oh, that's a cute little braid.
Oh, wait,
And then
We're going to cut through about half of it, a lot of little things, you know, cross it like this. Can everybody see what I'm doing? So you're cutting them all the way through, all the way from one edge to the next. Okay? You take it from one end and you start rolling it on itself, like this, very gently.
Can't quite see your hands in the way there.
Alright? And it's supposed to look a little bit like a rose. It opens up real beautiful in the oven.
That more. I'm like, forget that stuff. Oh, it's not. I didn't think we'd do that. Is start making stuff sauce.
It's
It
fine.
does make a gross.
Yeah,
I got it for Passover.
And now, I'm sure everybody knows super basic braiding techniques, and we're pretty much making a rope braid, right?
Okay.
Rolling it around and around and around.
What about the hand? Hold it up and swing it.
If I hold it up, it'll get too long because it's really
Even
loose. Okay, and you roll it around and around. You pretty much make a rope braid. You start rolling it onto itself, just like we did with the little flower we made a second ago.
Oh, wow, cool.
What are we making, a snail?
And we're making a little round.
So how did the Jews
That's the best one I did.
Challah bread
Looks like braids are your thing, maybe you should I'm gonna start taking the entire challah portion that I gave you. I have quite some dough. This is what you do. I'm putting one across the other. There's an X in the middle. So that's on the bottom, and I flip them over.
You just twisted.
Yeah. And now I take the two that's on the bottom, and I flip them over.
Are we building on the same knot or are we spreading it out?
It will eventually fall sideways, but you're building on the same knot, basically. Yeah.
Okay, so I should.
I'm taking the two that's on the bottom and twisting. And then again, twisting, 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 twisting. Whoops.
Oh, so you go not
Twisting,
on top.
twisting.
Well, it would fall over eventually. That's what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
And
It looks like made great.
this is what it's supposed to look like when you're done.
Ours does not look like that.
Yes, it does. Here, and then you crisscross like this,
Oh, snap.
okay? And you put a little bit of space between them, all right?
So you're weaving.
Yeah, a little bit of a weaving with a little bit of space. Okay, this is what you do. You see that there is 4 very obvious couples here, right? Pairs. You take one pair and you put the one that's on the bottom over the one that's on the top. You crease it, basically. You go all the way around, exactly. You go all the way around, the one that's on the bottom over the one that's on the top. The one that's on the bottom over the one that's on the top.
Are you leaving a little space so that, or is it tight?
You see that you have new 4 couples that have space between them, not the crisscrossed ones, right? The one that's on the bottom over the one that's on the top. All right? The one that's on the bottom over the one that's on the top. It doesn't matter what direction you're going, just as long as the one that's on the bottom goes over the one that's on the top. And the one that's on the bottom over the one that's on the top.
That's how they get those fancy. They're pretty.
Now, you see that you created new couples again? Hang on, I'm seeing something. You go the one that's on the bottom over the one that's on the top. And you keep going around and around like that. Okay? And we're going to keep going around like that.
You've got the wrong pair, I think.
Continue on like this. The one that's on the bottom over the one that's on the top until you pretty much run out of strands. I'm picking up my 4 edges, okay? And I'm holding them on the top. Okay? Now I'm going to flip it over. And it's supposed to look great, it's just resting for 2. Making sure these are very well stuck to each other. I'm taking my last strand and I'm skipping 3 strands. Alright? My last strand from the right and I'm skipping 3 strands towards the left. Now you take your last strand from the left and you skip only 2 strands towards the right, okay? Now, this is the big part of the 3D challah. I'm taking the strand that I just put in, and I'm taking the second strand from the left, okay?
Same as normal oven.
The second strand from the left, over the one I just
Okay,
put in.
thanks.
I switch places. There you go. And that's basically the whole thing. So now I'm taking my strand all the way on the right, the last one, and skip 3 strands. And then I'm taking my last strand on the left and skip 2 strands. And then I take my second last strand from the left and flip it with the one I just put in there next to it. And you keep going. My very last strand from the right, skipping 3 strands. And then my last strand from the left, skipping 2
Maybe get a little more
strands.
space.
I switch it with the one that's right next to it. And again, last strand from the right, skipping 3 strands. Last strand from the left, skipping 2 strands, and changing places from the one on its left. And we keep going until we pretty much run out of strands, and my strands are too long. But, well, I'll pretty much cut it here because they're kind of too long. Alright, this is the 5 strand, and as you can see, it looks exactly the same
Wow, that's good.
from all edges.
That's awesome.
3D. Alright, so 6 strands, no panic. We're taking the one second from last, put it over everything, as much as we can. And we're putting the very last one and to the
You gotta
middle.
turn it like that too?
And now we're going to the other side. The one before last, over everything. And the very last one, which is all the way on the top now, goes to the middle, skips out. This one will go over everything, and then this one will go
He's got a bunch of different ones.
to the middle. Alright? One before last. Remember, this one is the last.
Okay,
Goes
so-
over everything to the other side, and then this one, which is now the last one, goes to the middle. That's one before last, goes over everything, and last one to the middle. One before last, over everything.
He's all,
last one.
he's looking like a spider right now.
Why? No way. It's okay. Let's see.
And she's
This
retracing.
one. Yeah, I'm trying to trace what you did. Yeah, okay, so this is good. One before last over everything. This one to the middle, which is right here.
Right.
And now this is your last one. So this is one before last. Over everything. Okay. And now you open the octopus legs a little bit.
This one goes in the
No,
middle?
this one was the last one, the second before you use this. Goes to the middle. That's right. So it's these two or these two. That's what you're doing. This is one before last.
And goes over everything.
And now you open it here a little bit. Yeah, there you go. And this last one
Goes over in the middle.
in the middle. There you go. And then now from this side,
Goes over everything.
and this to the
And
middle.
that one goes in the middle.
Exactly. And then one before last, over everything.
Yeah.
And then last one to the middle. Other side, one before last over everything, last to the middle. And you keep going until you run out of strands. Now mine is getting way too long, so I'm going to cut it because these strands are getting too narrow. But this is basically what it's supposed to look like. tiny 6 triangles. This is basically what a ring challah is. You need a circle. I don't have a rolling pin, so I'm going to open it by hand, but it doesn't need to be too thin. So you open up a circle, pretty much like this. This is one portion from what I gave you as a one portion. Okay? So what you do is you take and roll it about this much. Okay? You leave yourself some dough, basically. And now I take my knife and I cut
I like these ones.
the dough that I have left into long ones. Alright, so now I take one of these strands, roll it onto itself a couple times, and put it around like this, and attach it. And then I take the other one, roll it, and
See how much those
attach
things
it.
puffed up?
Oh, I've seen these
Roll it,
before.
and attach it. Roll it, and attach it. Roll it, and attach. Now after you do the strands, this is really easy.
Is this supposed to be a finger or something? And then it has the wedding bit?
No, just a ring. And now all you do is you take it and you roll it into the middle of a crown shape. Catch it in the edge. And you got yourself your wedding band.
Gonna be
Although
good.
you might want to put a cup in the middle for it to rise. And this is really easy. You make 8 balls out of this.
8?
8 balls. Make them as pretty much as round as you can. And this is what you do. Pretty much organize them. In a crown shape. That's going to rise into itself real nicely. Want any cups?